Rev up your engines!
Well, if you've got a modern car, you better make sure you got full coverage. Here's a guy that had to spend $2,250 to replace a windshield. Dave Ward from Peterborough, Ontario says, we just replaced a windshield in our 2020 Highlander Platinum. We had to go through insurance and the bill was $2,250 Canadian. Lane departure and rain succeed wipers were the killer. They needed several $100s of programming. The insurance said they won't use Chinese windshields because they don't work properly with the lane departure stuff. You get a modern car, you better have full coverage. You get a crack, the windshield breaks, that kind of money to replace it. And of course, this doesn't bode well for when these vehicles get older. Because when cars get older, a lot of people, they'll drop the comprehensive and stuff. They'll only have just regular insurance. They won't have full coverage. Too much technology, maybe? Yeah, a lot of it is too much technology. We used to change out windshields for a couple $100. Those days are gone with all this computerized sensor crap they're putting on cars. Well, following that Dieselgate scandal for Volkswagen where they cheated on the diesel emissions, Volkswagen invested billions in electric vehicle technology, and now the Volkswagen head says we are no longer competitive. So now they want to cut their expenses, right? Maybe they should think about not building electric cars that nobody wants to buy. But Volkswagen's brand chief, Thomas Schaefer, says we got to cut $11 billion by 2026. So they want to cut that kind of money. That's a lot of money. They're going to lay people off. And guess what? They're probably going to stop making a whole bunch of these electric vehicles. They've already stopped making them for a while. The ID3 is another one in Germany because nobody's buying the stupid things. It's another case of governments trying to think, here's what we believe. We believe in green, 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 green. So you have to go green. Well, you can say you have to go green, but on the other side, we consumers, maybe we can't afford to go green. Maybe we don't like the inconvenience of an electric car that we can't go wherever we want, whenever we want, because you got to wait to charge it up and you're worried about range anxiety. They cost a fortune to fix. They get in minor wrecks and then they're totaled because the battery system gets broken and the battery might cost 15, 20 grand to replace. So that's the end of the car, right? Instead of being in a regular car, you get in a little accident, maybe it's $2,500 to fix it. But now if the electric battery's damaged, even Volkswagen, the Dieselgate was the beginning. They cheated with the diesel. Maybe this is karma coming back and we're going to be electric. We're going to be clean. Yeah, well, maybe nobody wants to buy the stuff. Now here's a hilarious one. Look at those cigarette butts. And what does it say? Recycling cigarette butts may reduce biodiesel production costs. They found a way through heat and stuff to get certain chemicals out of cigarette butts that can help them make biodiesel. So what do they say now? Hey, all you people out there, you should start smoking like chimneys so we can get all the cigarette butts to make biodiesel. This has got to be one of the most absurd things I have ever read. Somebody comes up with the idea, there's all these cigarette butts. What if we collect? Can you imagine the absolute logistic nightmare of picking up billions of cigarette butts and then treating them chemically somehow to make what they call biodiesel, right? Well, they said, well, biodiesel is cleaner. We're going to be green. You're not going to be green if it's based on a bunch of people smoking cigarettes and they're taking the cigarette butts and making diesel fuel out of them. Come on now. The health risks to the people smoking all those cigarettes. What are they going to, hey, people, keep smoking. We need those cigarette butts. You know? They're always trying to find some absurd thing like this. Cigarette butts. It's sort of like when they made the soy-based wiring in cars and then it found out that the rats and the bugs eat it because it's soy-based, right? It's food to them. And then your car doesn't work because the rats and the roaches ate the wiring in your car. Well, in this case, they want people to get lung cancer smoking cigarettes so they can collect the butts and make biodiesel fuel. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's got to be one of the most ironic bits of green nonsense that I've ever heard. Well, if you follow me, you know I'm not a big fan of Stellantis, but finally, they said something intelligent. Carlos Tavares, who is the head of Stellantis, if you don't know, which is Chrysler, Fiat, and Peugeot, the three stooges of car manufacturing, he said, we anticipate slower EV adoption because of the all-around key events, which will happen next year. There are two important elections, the European Parliament elections in June and the U.S. elections in November. Politics could be different then. In other words, the politicians may not be giving billions to these car companies to make electric cars. The only reason most people are buying them is because they get a big tax break, right? Look at Germany. Germany recently cut the tax break for electric cars. What did Volkswagen do? For a while, they stopped making the ID.3 electric Volkswagens because nobody was buying them. The only reason they were buying them is because they're getting a lot of money off. The government was subsidizing. As soon as the subsidy goes, they go the electric cars, right? For once, Stellantis says something intelligent. Carlos, their head, says, maybe EVs aren't going to be such a big thing. And realize Stellantis is now a European-based company where they're supposedly pushing all this green electrification of cars, right? He's saying, hey, hold your horses. Pull those reins back on electric cars. People aren't going to be buying them. Why should we make them? Even the Europeans are realizing the fraudulency of this stuff. People aren't as dumb as they think they are, that they'll just buy whatever horse manure they throw out. Even the head of Stellantis is saying, hey, this car electric battery stuff, hey, maybe it's kind of fantasy land. We better hold back on this stuff. Well, here's one. There's a Dutch ship. It's one of these service ships for offshore wind turbines. And they say they can charge it using just one wind turbine. Because, of course, they want to go green and they got to service these stupid things all the time, right? Well, I find it hilarious. So the wind turbine they're servicing, right, they're going to charge the batteries up in the boat using that power. So it's like the wind turbine makes electricity to power a boat that takes care of the wind turbine. It's a circular system, right? The people on the shore, well, maybe they won't get much of that electricity, but it'll be able to provide its own power and maintenance by charging up the boat that services it. Kind of like a catch-22 on that one, right? Damon Shipyards says they have the service boat. It's 230 feet long, so it's a pretty big ship, right? I've been on ones that are 72. They seem kind of big to me, but this is a big service boat, right? And it's 56 feet wide. It's a big ship. They're claiming it's fully electric when they use it, but here's the truth. 2 lithium iron phosphate battery options. 10 milliwatt hours at 15 milliwatt hours. If the vessel can't access electricity, it has diesel propulsion for emergency backup. And they're going to be using that diesel motor all the time. They're in the North Sea, Denmark, right? It's cold. A ship that size is going to use a tremendous amount of electricity. And there's only so long those batteries in a freezing sea are going to be able to pull this giant boat around. The energy that a boat uses like that is unbelievable. And think if they're going to use a battery, maybe these offshore things are only like 10, 15 miles away, so they can go 10, 15 miles, charge up, come back. They can use all the electricity, go back and forth. They're supposed to generate electricity for us people, but, well, what the heck. Now, they say it charges up in a few hours. What does that mean? What is few? 10 hours, 20 hours? Who knows what few is? They don't give you the exact information. They never do. And, of course, they don't give any information on how much this thing costs because it's battery and it's got a diesel engine in it, too. So you got 2 systems. So it's going to be a very expensive ship, right? But it's green, according to these green people, right? They can live in their green fantasy world. The tremendous amount of energy that's needed cannot be supplied by batteries for just about anything. Any fool is going to tell you that. I've talked to engineers, and they say, numero uno, they're scared by these vehicles because the density of energy in these batteries is extremely dangerous for exploding, starting on fire. A lot of engineers tell me they'd never want to be on a ship like that. They'd be worried something's going to go up, right? Be that as it may. It's kind of a circular system. The ship that fixes the turbines uses the turbine energy to drive itself back and forth. The turbines are supposed to make electricity for the people on land to use, but, it looks green on paper, right? Well, I just read an article called Why the World's First Flight Powered Entirely by Sustainable Aviation Fuel is a Green Mirage. And of course, it is, right? Now, I realize this is Virgin Atlantic clowns. They were on this supposed bio-kerosene they were using, made from McDonald's hamburgers and French fry trap grease, right? I mean, how much of that is around, right? This has happened before. Now, listen, in 2008, same guy, Richard Branson and Virgin Atlantic, right? He had a plane that flew from London to Amsterdam, not all that far, right? And he used the fuel derived from palm oil and coconut oil. Jets use a lot of energy, right? London to Amsterdam is not that far, even on a tiny trip. Listen to this. To have fueled that short trip from London to Amsterdam would have consumed 3 million coconuts for that one short trip. The entire global crop would supply Heathrow for only a few weeks, and it is only one of 18,000 commercial airports worldwide. Following this stunt in 2008, Virgin gave up on coconut oil. And now they're saying they're going to do it with old French fry oil and cooking grease from restaurants, right? Yeah. There's probably more coconuts than there there is that stuff, right? It's totally unsustainable. It's just another gimmick by Virgin Atlantic to say, oh, look, we're clean. And you're not clean. They're burning fuel. They're going up in there. They'll find some typical little thing like they'll say, it creates up to 70% less carbon dioxide, right? All kinds of other chemicals are still out there. They don't mention them. They don't mention that stuff, right? They just mention the thing that it is lower. They don't tell you the truth about everything, but it's totally unsustainable. I mean, look at the old one. 3 million coconuts to go London to Amsterdam is only 217 miles. Jets go 400 miles an hour. What are you talking about? Half-hour flight? And that takes up 3 million coconuts. We would definitely run out of coconuts. Trying to say they're going to make this stuff green is a load of horse manure. Publicity stunts. Richard Branson's the notorious publicity stunt man, and he's at it again. And there are some suckers out there that believe in this crap. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.